Hello all, it's been a while since the last Star Trek Online story drop, but I'm in the process of putting together the latest story episodes. So in the interim, there have been several events which have been covered in short stories on the online website. Now originally I was going to cover these as a mere introductory part in a story series episode, but after the lore they revealed started to compile, I decided to move them to their own video, as they may or may not have imminent bearing on the story. Either way, as background tales, they may be something to bear in mind going forward. One day, Admiral Kumarki receives a coded message from Lemiran, the Iconian, but not our reality's version. No, this is the Lemiran we encountered from the Control Borg universe, where Tasha Yar was the Borg Queen. She reaches out because an artifact of theirs has gone missing, and warp trail analyses suggests it ended up in our universe. Now, she's not ruled out the possibility of some accident, and would not disclose exactly what this item is. Kumarki diverts to meet with alternate universe Lemiran, and in private, she discloses more. The missing item is a Kida shard, also called a dream gem or fragment of the Devil's Heart. The item was last detected in the Hrith system. These gems were self-replicating fragments that could be cultivated and acted as the main component of Iconian gateway technology. Now, the Devil's Heart is a loaded term in Apocrypha as it refers to a very powerful and ancient artifact that predates even the Iconians and Takon empires. The species who built the Guardian of Forever devised these gems as seeds to be scattered throughout the universe. Where they touched down, they would form a new gateway, and the Guardian was from one of these. It was discovered by the Takon, who used it as the basis for their technology until the collapse of that empire, before finding its way to Iconia. But in the books from which these tales come, that was only the beginning of the Devil Heart's trail. It ended up on ancient Vulcan, perhaps a relic brought in by the ancient Ataran colonists, before being one of the many items those who marched beneath the Raptor's wings absconded with, becoming a Romulan Emperor's trinket under the name the Konaya, or Bloodstone. Eventually it ended up in the hands of the Andorians, who used it to prevent a plague, before it was traded to the Ferengi, who sold it to the Klingons, where it was given as a gift by Emperor Kesek to his favoured slave, who then left to found her own colony. There it lay hidden once more until it was uncovered in 2368, and sent back on its way to complete its mission to establish a new Guardian of Forever beyond the galaxy's edge. Of course, while the main crystal may now be long gone, as I said, shards could be cultivated from it, and this is also an alternate universe version of this legendary artifact. The original may now be long gone, but with the path it carved throughout history, it's an incredibly powerful artifact to end up in the wrong hands. Now, aside from this event, another short story also covers a meeting on Lucar between the Alpha and Beta Quadrant powers to discuss threats such as the Borg Kingdom. Thacine Fay, the Aetherian intermediary, travelled to Lucar with a presentation, which many Starfleet captains also attended, a visual log of her homeworld falling to the alternate universe Borg. The meeting was attended by dignitaries from all quadrants. For the most part, this had been a Federation, Klingon and Romulan operation in repelling the multiversal Borg threat, and the hope of this conference was to bring in more allies and share intel. The images of their world being assimilated was to instill in all the simple question: what if this was your home? Thacine Fay explained that their people had been isolated, of superb technological skill, but it had made concerted efforts to push away allies and alliances to go it alone, a pinnacle among other societies. But when the Borg came, they fell with no one willing to aid them. That was the beginning of the Aetherian philosophy of strength, harmony and unity. The Cardassian representative was outspoken against helping, instead asking why the Ethereans did not simply rebuild and put their resources into themselves. Thacine Fay responds that the efforts of the United Federation of Planets give her hope for the Ethereans' future. The Klingon homeworld reminds them of what they had lost, and the wealth of Romulan history speaks to the ancient Etherean hearts, especially the history of their capital city, Namad. She spoke out about how after the Borg razed their world, their ecosystem never recovered, and that one day they will rebuild, but only when they are safe. With everything Cardassia went through in the wake of the Dominion War, this answer seems to sway the representative. Instead, she asks, what if the Ethereans fail anyway? Thacine's Fay answer was basically that then they will at least die being known. At the end of their briefing, she hands out ARD tokens, information on anti-Borg operations, but seems noticeably disappointed that Admiral Kumarki was not in attendance to receive one. Nonetheless, she implores Kumarki's aide to take one and leave it aboard the Raskava, the Lukari flagship, for the Admiral's attention later. Now, this was because the Admiral was on the LSS Jalit in the Balankar sector on a restoration initiative. Balankar is near the Ferenginar sector for reference, and her understanding of protomatter is in demand when it comes to M-class planet restoration attempts. And lest we forget, all of this began on a mission to try to restore the Nakul star, and the Lukari government continues to send her on such missions, even amidst the looming Borg threat. It should be noted that such events are set over the course of at least a week, probably several, showing that although the Borg continue to push, operations have been successful in preventing a universe-ending crisis, and most of the galaxy goes on business as usual. However, the Jalit drops out of warp unexpectedly, and strange writing is discovered all over the protomatter modules, causing a malfunction. How mere words in an unknown language could cause a malfunction was also unknown. After another uneventful week, Kumarki is contacted once again and recalled from the Jalit as a new joint operation mission has been put together, with familiar and new allies. We also learn that the collective term for a group of triples is a fluff. I did not know where to include that, but that feels very important to know. So, that covers the lore setup for this new part of Star Trek Online's current story arc. Will the Devil's Heart come into play? What's with the Aetherian insistence on placing these data devices in the hands of every captain they can? And what is this strange lettering that can apparently shut down a starship just by being written? Well, I hope you'll be joining me for the next part of Star Trek Online's story series as we pick up the tale after the extended hiatus. A lot has happened with the parent company of STO, so I'd be surprised if this had no impact on the development. Until the next episode, thanks for watching, and let's get back out there.